Hi, Yellow Yellow. Well, uh, I left yesterday's stream because I had to go do the amazing podcast with International Master Gauri Shankar, and so I didn't finish the final player here, Michael Polak. And also, I noticed that we have two games that were submitted for the Sensei Game Review, which I sometimes overlook. I saw it, however. I saw it, however. So I want to do those three things. Maybe something else, but I want to do those three things today. Okay, so we're going to look at Michael Polak. We're going to see if he's managing 18 hours a week. That's a lot, dude. I do 15, and I know I don't always hit it. And actually, I need to also write down what I did today. That'll be another thing that I do. Okay, so I'm going to look at his game against Peter Hreik. All right, here's Michael Polak. And let's just see, actually. We'll pop this out. And I'll just see if he's managing 20. I'm just going to read it out because I don't think you can see it at the very end there. He missed it last week, but he had 13 hours, 24 hours, 20 hours, 21, 19, 18, 19, 10. Oh, so he switched it because there it has less. So it's recently, since October, that he's really pumped up the volume. He started kind of sporadically, as you can see, and then he really pumped it up. Now, when you say Michael is you're this guy, dude? You're yellow? Oh, that's really cool, man. That's really great. Okay, cool. Yellow, me and you have been talking this whole time, and I didn't know. Really cool that you've made this progress. Yeah, and 44 points FIDE, dude. That is hard. You know, we see on this graduation show a lot of players going from 600 to 800, and that's a 200-point gain. And, you know, definitely an achievement. But 40, well, the higher you get, the harder it becomes. Okay. So, yeah, if you have any questions there in the chat, just let me know. One thing maybe you could clarify. I remember this from yesterday, where you said, I join positions with the material imbalances. But then also maybe earlier you said something that you didn't like chaotic positions, which I was like, come on. But I like pawns aren't people. That's definitely true. All right, let's take a look at your games here. And I'm going to try to remember the name of the guy. Oh, gosh, I'm not going to remember. You could let me know. I'm going to guess it was this one. Shoot, maybe I'll go back a second here. Peter Hreik. So not in here, right? No. I goes this one. Boom. There it is. Cool. All right, let's see if we got some time graph. We do. We're going to call this, it's a little bit old school. You get 30 extra minutes. And looks like this is a typical kind of graph if people have kind of theory-ish to move 14, and then it goes down. It looks good. All right. So let's pull this up. All right. Good. I'm glad you like this position. Some people don't like this position. I think it's amazing. Okay, so good notes. Rook d1 is definitely a strange move. Okay. So I assume black can do a variety of different things here. Now, I'm sure you're following, or I'm not sure, but I assume you're following some ideas with Rook D1. To me, I'll just put it like, I'm not an expert here or anything, but it's odd because your engine of growth is the kingside expansion, and ultimately your pieces, it doesn't really want to do anything on D1. Okay, I think black could do a variety of things. Let's see how this goes. H5. You played bishop f4. I have a feeling that's not your only move either. Both sides are thinking a little bit now. Based on Sam Shanklin, okay. Okay. Now, one thing I have no idea exactly what's going on, but one thing it feels like to me is that you're trying to mimic something in a course. And so the engine is probably what's dictating what's in Sam's course. And Sam would have his own ideas too. But already it looks very inhuman here. Yeah. All right. A5. And now bishop g5. And this kind of shows it, because now you're at 8.5 minutes and you're like, dude, I don't know what to do. So, let's see. This is your other variation. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Oh, he's black, dude. Come on, Kraai. So I think thank you for telling me that. There's something about the way you inputted it that gave it as white on the bottom. Normally it would be black. You're absolutely right. Okay. So, good. Yes, your opponent is doing some weird shit. Okay. Very true. All right, now he basically loses his mind and plays bishop g5. I don't know. He doesn't know either. He doesn't know. All right, rook d8. b3. I'm not a huge fan of b3. He isn't either, because he spent 14.5 minutes on it. Yeah, I think these positions are great for black. If white starts, fiddling like they have been, yeah, you're going to get a great position. Okay, I think I'm down with what you're doing here. And poor white needs a plan and just does not have a plan here. So they're starting to crash in terms of time too on the clock. Now you play knight e7. Seems reasonable, freeze your rook and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I would say you're a little bit better here. All right, so now dude played knight c4. Feels a little desperate. Right, and you have a choice. I guess we'll say this is your first big think of the game with b6. Maybe you had another thing, but the 15 minutes, honestly, you could argue that's too long. I think, but yeah, that's too long, and it's fun. It is a hard decision. I will say it is a hard decision, but ultimately, the reason it's too long is it's a intuitive decision, right? Because yeah, it's an intuitive decision. Now, I think you're better in both of those variations. What I like about your move, though, is white isn't doing anything. And especially psychologically, he might have some ideas of what to do, but especially as a Berlin player, you don't want to give up your good bishop. The knight isn't, I don't know what he's doing. I have no idea what the guy's doing. And we could still take on c4 later. And as you write, we might have to play c5 and b6 anyway if we take on c4. Okay, I'm for it. I guess the critique, though, is you thought too long on it. So a good rule of thumb is if it's an intuitive decision, i.e. something where you're not doing incredible calculation, then you should be under 10 minutes, for sure. You should, in general, always be under 10 minutes. But if especially on intuitive decisions, you shouldn't be thinking forever. Okay, king e8 you don't say anything about, but you could go to c8, right? I don't see any particular reason not to go to c8. Okay, I'll just say the reason king c8 appeals to me more over e8, unless I'm missing something, is that we ultimately want to start an engine on the queen side, and so our king would like to be on that queen side when the proverbial shit hits the fan, right? We would like to create a weakness for him over there and go after it. He wants to go the king to e6. Okay, I understand what you're saying. King e8. Now, the problem here is for white, really. One of the reasons I like that you didn't take, even if you, in the analysis, decided that you should have taken, is the guy has a real problem. I have to allow yellow's chat because he said something about the F pawn. Whenever you say the F pawn, Twitch doesn't like it. Right, because white has no idea what's going on. No clue. And white has zero clue about what to do in this position. And if I was him, I would also have a problem. I don't know what he's supposed to do either. This doesn't look right. I don't know where he's going. And here you do another tank. I need to understand something, actually. So, in this position, what was wrong with dude playing rook d4? Isn't that kind of what he should have done? Rook d4? At least his pieces kind of sort of know where they go now. Yellow's talking about knight g6 here. But all I'm saying is the rook wants to be, I think, on a square like this on e4. I don't even have to put it on e4 immediately. Maybe I do. I don't know. For example, king e2. And just with the basic point that if you do this to me, at the minimum I have that. Maybe I have something else, but at a minimum I got that. Also, I don't understand knight e3. Why you put the knight on c4? I don't know why you put it on c4, but it seems like, it's there to prevent or make difficult b5. to protect the pawn. Why not? Anyways, rook d4 looks like the better move to me. He's talking about knight g6, king e2, bishop d5. Okay, that's a thought. Probably play king e3. And if bishop f3, I'd think about gf anyway. And I don't think you can do this because of here and then pawn. Yeah. Anyways, I'm just trying to make sensible moves for white. I don't understand knight e3. c5, I like this move. Again, too long, but I like the move. Also, just on principle, you're supposed to put your pawns on the opposite color of your bishop, so that all looks good. Yeah, I like that a lot. I like it better than c5 because the knight on e3 doesn't know what he's doing. He has no clue what he's doing. Rook e1, oh, that's weird. Now, you're right that if we're going to wonder about knight e3, it would be this move because at least here he has an idea. Let's see what this variation goes on. Right. That's a nice variation. There you go. This proves your point about your intentions about putting the king on e8 as well. Okay. Now, I'm just saying, though, this at least makes sense. I don't understand rook e1. All right, so you're going to do your thing. And now he puts his knight on an awkward square. And, right, once you achieve c4, you're doing great. It's a good pawns are people moment because white was obsessed with defending his pawns instead of thinking about basics like preventing you from playing c4. All right. King e7 is a beautiful move. King e1. Knight b4. This is a great game, dude. This is fantastic. King e1 isn't... I guess I don't understand why he doesn't go e2. Okay. King d2. c5. Nice move. Oh, it's beautiful. That's really nice. It shows all of the ideas of the Berlin here, where you're just cranking him here with your bishop and his weakened pawns. And now we're slowly drifting in time pressure. Your opponent's much worse in terms of time. I spent the most time considering this. Yeah, you're spending a lot of time. I'm a little confused here, so let me just read out what's happening. 93. Oh, that's a nice variation. Now, presumably that's what you missed. But let me just think about this. Okay, I want to just say I'm a little confused because, at least for myself, I don't understand what the virtue of bishop a6 is over bishop d5. Right? Like, I get that there's the whole knight e3, bishop f3 trick, but, like, what are we doing? And then you talk about bishop e6. $11. Thank you for subscribing. Okay, I like your move. Maybe too long. And then bishop c6. So I thought that was your intention, bishop c6. But let's see why you didn't do it. Yeah, playing And someday you might take on a4 because c3 followed by takes the knight. You got the pawns. Anyways, I thought bishop d5 was fine because it looked like whether we taking the pawn or not, the bishop belongs here. And you're absolutely right, this bad boy wants a roll. Okay. So, honestly, I want to say until this move knight c6, I think you've played super GM level chess, dude, and you're like understanding the position. This is the first one where it looks like a nasty move. Yeah. All right, because it looks. Because I actually, yeah. What are we doing? Are we trying to win the pawn on e5? What are we doing? 93. Wait a second. So again, I don't understand his move. What if he plays c4? We can't really, I don't think we get to do anything special here. Because knight e5, we pin and win. I guess you could still play bishop e6, but we're not really cracking his skull here. Right? Whereas a knight e3, now at least you get something. Okay. Yeah, now you're better. Okay, so maybe he missed this move. Okay, I just want to say, also, I'm not, maybe white's better. I kind of doubt it, honestly. So let's say we say check, and I don't know where he goes. Let's just put it here for a second. He can change his mind. Let's go g5. And if he says check, we'll go like here, and if here, we're going to think about this move. Now, I don't know exactly what's going on, but I think I want to be black because I got these ideas here. I got some. I'm talking. I got something to say. I got something to say. Yeah. So, I still believe in your position, even after knight c4. He snips. Okay. Okay, that's a nice pawn to have. Good chess. Now we're just much better here. And now you lost your mind with rook takes e3. f5 would be a hell of a drug. Okay, wait. I have to admit, this is a lot to take in. So hold on. We have to first go down the road. So boom, 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 boom. And just intuitively, we shouldn't believe that we're winning this thing. I mean, it's very hard to calculate, right? But I don't think we should believe we're winning this. And that's what we're looking at when we play rook takes e3. Also, there's an also. Yeah. Also, if you wanted to, if you wanted to just keep the advantage, your f5 move is cool, by the way. I mean, I'd have to think more about f5. But if you just wanted to hold the advantage, like rook e6, oh, you have that here. You talk about rook f4. That maybe. Nah, I don't know about this though. Let's say we check him. King b5. I don't know, play that. No, you're right. That's not so easy. Well, wait a second. King b5. I still don't understand. We're up a pawn. We're up a pawn. We got to be doing good here. We're up a pawn. Anyways, what am I saying? I'm saying this move where you go for it involves hectic calculation, right? And so, right, and you're saying you missed this move. Okay, I mean, it's fair. It's fair. Things like that happen. All right, just one final idea here. Could you do here? I think that forces e4. Let's just tempo it out here. Oh no, he's gonna nail us with a check. That's no fun. That's a5. Yeah, that's no fun. That's unfair, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So, king d6, king here. So g5 would transpose, and then he blunders it fully. Bang! Welcome to the dojo. Welcome to the dojo. Very nice. Okay, so we should say, oh, look at that, dude. It was his last move of time pressure. Right? He has gf5 on move 40. But still, he's got 3 minutes left. He screwed that one up, man. Yellow, that was a great annotation, dude. That was beautiful. Yeah. I really felt like you played good, intuitive chess. And one thing maybe to see is, okay, from a positional standpoint, knight c6 was wrong. But maybe the most critical thing is if you had more time at the end, right? Let's just imagine you had 10 more minutes, right? Then if you have 10 more minutes here, you still have, you have a good chunk of time. But if you had 10 more minutes here from not making, the thinking long on the earlier decisions, then dude, you're probably not going to make this mistake, right? Yeah. Okay, that was beautiful. I'm gonna mark this as reviewed, and now, and I should have done the game review format. I'm sorry about that. Now we're gonna have there's some games I need to look at. This is the Sensei game review queue. And so this is Curtis Jones. We're first going to go take a look. And by the way, Curtis, if you put this in there a long time ago, dude, and I didn't notice it, I'm sorry. It's that it needs to be a little better with that notification. Okay. So Curtis is logging his work sporadically. It would help me to see more of that. I'll go over here, but bam. Oh, this one's weird though, Curtis. What's going on here? I feel like something's going on here. Review requested 925. Oh my God! I hope it hasn't. I hope he hasn't had it in there for so long. Oh no. So I don't understand what he wants me to look at here. Something happened. Let's go look at his other game. All right. So here we go. A little bit. It's a little bit light on the annotations. 72 hours. So maybe a daily game or something. All right, let's take a look. Again, Curtis, I can see that you submitted it. Well, yeah, dude, you submitted it ages ago, and we dropped the ball. So I'm sorry about that. All right, all good moves so far. This is a very aggressive move from White. Good move. Good move. And now we have a very interesting position. You could do other things, of course, besides c5. c5's okay. And before we go further, we just want to say the dynamic of the position. You are up a gazillion tempi, but in return, and by tempi I just mean White owes you a lot of time to get their pieces out. But in return, White has this beautiful unopposed bishop, and he's got an extra pawn in the center. Okay, so this move is a big mistake positionally, queen takes d5, because it's enabling this e4. And I would even say that White's probably got a bigger than small advantage. You said a small advantage. So when we make a mistake like that, we want to write it out. And knight d5 I also don't think is correct, because after defending this coconut, White is going to pop you with e4. Like knight d5, bishop d2, and then e4. So I think pretty sure the correct move is e takes d5 with an interesting position. Okay, so queen d5, e4. Now, something I want to stress is where you are at in your chess, you know, and the 900 to 1,000 level. This is a big deal to lose a tempo, but it's not the end of the world. What's going to decide your games is going to be people hanging material, right? All right, so here we go. Queen d8, bishop c4. I think I would have been interested in bishop e3 and then putting the bishop on d3, because on c4 she's going to be a victim later. All right, you played a6. I think you do a variety of things. Queen c7 comes to mind. Okay. Okay, and this move I don't like that much, because what happens when you push now is it's going to redirect the bishop to look at your king, and it's going to take away all of the tension in the center. And I want that tension, because I don't want to give White a free hand in the center, which is what happens now after c4. Now White doesn't have to worry about it anymore. Now you waste a tempo, and what I want you to see is you are stopping bishop g5, but this knight is pretty terrible now. See, it's dominated by this pawn. This pawn's controlling these squares. That's where the knight wants to go. Also, it has this square. It's a good example of how central control can kill a minor piece. So I don't have any great advice for you, but I would rather move the knight than try to spend a tempo stabilizing where it currently stands. Well, Sweet Blues, bishop c3 wasn't a bad move when he did it. It was wrong to follow it up, though, the way he did. All right, castles. e5. Now, look, this is, we're going to call this a mistake. It's not a terror. I think it's a very instructive mistake, honestly. So White is thinking, and they're still going to have the advantage after this, that they want to open the bishop, and that's cool. That they want to start an attack, and that's cool. But this knight was dead. And now it's going to get a square. Thank you very much. Bishop d2. Knight c6. Good move. Knight g3. And now bishop b7. Now, I was thinking about this half a second ago. Bishop b7 is a natural looking move, but your knights are in the way. My intuition for you here would be to play f5 and give white the choice. If he takes, we'll activate our stuff, maybe queen takes. And notice there we might want our bishop on c8. And if he doesn't take, then we'll say, well, then the bishop is dead, the knight is dead, and maybe then we'll put the bishop to b7. Queen c1. This doesn't look right. he wants to chump you out over there on h6. Now you play queen h4. I still like f5. Notice that if he takes twice on h6 after f5, Our Lady can now come to the defense of the king. And this pawn really knocks the white pieces out of messing with us. All right, f4. This is a very typical pawn roller situation that he's got going on. I think you need to play f5 to stop it, to slow it down. Knight a5. f5, good move. By what? Your opponent. Good move. All right, and now queen b1, which I'm not sure I understand. As an example, I think rook f3 looks scary to me. Now notice what you're doing. You have moved all of your coconuts away from the king side of the board. So now he's got a full hand on that side, and I think finds a very nice move here, bishop d1. Very nice move. And you're going to hang your queen here, but I think it's gone. I think it's officially toast because queen g6, you're getting nailed by that, right? And now we're toast. Yeah, unfortunately. Your opponent's playing pretty reasonable game, by the way. Yeah. Okay, so what I want you to see is this. It wasn't queen h3 that destroyed the game for you. Yes, it's sad that you lost your queen, but I don't have any way out for her. She is currently trapped. A couple things I want you to see about what happened strategically. And the first thing I want to say before I talk about the strategy is your games will be decided more on blunders rather than strategical thinking. But your opponent, after wishy-washing a little bit, did eventually find the right strategical plan here. Okay, so how this plan got enabled by you giving him that e4 square, and then by you moving your pieces away from the king side. So a good way that you can think of defense and attack is to think about force count. So when you move your coconuts away from the queen side, right? Over here, you were all the way, where were we here? There was some point where you were way out over here with knight b6, right? You were way out, and it makes sense that something terrible is going to happen because white has so much power, force count, against your king. Right? All these beautiful things they've got going on. So that's generally when the attack is going to succeed. So I want to say I'm sorry. It took forever. I'm sorry it took forever. We're going to try to be better with these game reviews. We thought when we instituted the game reviews they'd be more popular, but they just aren't. So I just noticed that recently that we had some up there. So I'm sorry about that again. And go back. Uh-oh, what happened here? Oh, now it's not showing me it anymore. Okay, so I'm gonna run. That's been fun. Yellow, nice to finally meet you personally. And I'll see you around. I think you're doing great. Okay, I'm gonna end it. Who am I? I gotta raid somebody though.